Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Key Arena. Along with Marcus Johnson, I'm Kevin Calabro. It is Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, and it is the Martin Luther King Holiday Hoopfest. Tonight, featuring Rainier Beach, the Vikings, against the Garfield Bulldogs. And welcome as you hear that lovely voice of Martin Luther King Jr. in his address so many years ago, which, of course, emphasized unity in the community, and that's what this is all about today. It's about uniting various parts of the community here in Seattle in the spirit of competition, and we're going to have some competition, some great basketball on tap this evening, MJ.
Yeah, we are indeed. It's all about using basketball as a catalyst, as you say, for goodwill, bringing people together. That's going to happen, and also a great basketball game on the store. Bragging rights for the CD, the Central District, at stake tonight.
Absolutely. We have 6 fine men's basketball team in a circle here at Key Arena. As above, you can hear the address of Martin Luther King Jr. We'll take a break. We'll come right back with more notes on this evening's contest in a moment.
The King Holiday Hoop Fest is brought to you by Nordstrom, by Land Rover, a proud member of the Brotherton Automotive Group, by Adidas, feet you wear, by Friends of Hoop, respect the game, by Sports Radio 950 and 850, KJRAM, by Kong TV 616, by Seattle Center, what a great place, by Kiss 106.1, your music for the new millennium today, and by 8for8 Productions, bringing people together.
I just want to do God's will, and He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Welcome back to Key Arena with Marcus Johnson, Kevin Calabro, Rainier Beach. The Vikings are the 3A fame, defending state champions at 3A, and the Garfield Bulldogs, defending state champions 4A. And many people last year wondered, Marcus, what it would be like if these two teams got together. Well, the wishes come true. We're going to see quite a run here tonight.
Well, wonder no more. You got two very good basketball teams. You talked about both state champions, and forget about what's going to happen or possibly happen on paper. You're going to have it here on the hardwood where it's supposed to be determined, Kevin. Not on paper, on the hardwood, baby.
Rainier Beach has got just an explosive kid, 6'5", Jamal Crawford, who leads the state in scoring. He is arguably the best in the state, and he's got a band around him. They're small, yet they are quick, but Crawford is, I guess, the main guy right now for this Rainier Beach club that figures to push the ball on our Taco Bell keys to the game.
Yeah, well, he's the guy. They want the ball in his hands most of the time. He makes it happen. A very good scorer, averaging about 27 points a game, but he can also pass the basketball brilliantly. That's what we'll be looking for tonight.
Garfield, on the other hand, is 9-2 on the year. They are ranked number 2 in 4A. They come from the Kinko 4A Lake Division. Their record in the division is 5-0. Earlier last week, they beat Franklin at Franklin in quite a ball game, and they have superior size on Rainier Beach.
Yeah, they got the Roy boys, Ed Roy and Roy Smiley. Ed Roy about 6'6", a sophomore in last year's state championship team, as was Roy Smiley. So they've got experience, guys who have been there before, guys who know how to play in pressure situations. And again, this is all about who's the best in the CD. You know these guys play against each other all summer long.
There you see Jamal Crawford is at 6'5" and is heading toward Michigan. 27 points per ball game. The 7 assists, the 5 rebounds. And, you know, when you talk to folks about Crawford who've seen him play quite a bit through the course of his high school career, they mention his passing before they mention anything else.
Well, you talked about it. He is such a good passer. He's so big, so much stronger than a lot of his teammates that sometimes the passes kind of go awry because his teammates aren't ready for him. But they better be ready tonight if they want to win this basketball game.
And Garfield not only is a bigger team, but they're a team that can go up-tempo as well, and they'll have some answers for Jamal Crawford. We'll come right back from Key Arena in a moment. Hey, welcome back to the 1999 King Holiday Hoop Fest. Rainier Beach and the Vikings against the Garfield Bulldogs at Key Arena. With Marcus Johnson, I'm Kevin Calabro, and joining us with some courtside reports this evening as well from KJR Radio, Sports Radio's Dave Grosby. Time now for the Nordstrom starting lineup. For Rainier Beach and the Vikings. They'll go with Ricky Frazier, a junior at 5'9", little guard. He's a speedster who can score. Jamal Crawford will be out front as well. The 6'5" guard is a senior. It'll be DeMar Basie, the sophomore, 6'5" forward, along with Tim Ellis, 6'4" forward. And up front as well on that line will be Andre Franklin, a 5'10" forward. The head coach of Rainier Beach is Mike Bethia, with Harold Wright, Ron Howard, Kewan Miller, Bob Loudon, and Ed Haskins, his assistants. State ranking number 4 in Metro 3A with a 6-1 record, and the overall mark is 8-3 on the year. For the Garfield Bulldogs, Garfield 9-2 on the year, state ranking of number 2 in 4A, and they are coached by Wayne Floyd, who had a big win earlier this week at Franklin. They beat the Earthquake, and Jimmy Haywood headed toward Oregon State. That was quite an effort, as Garfield came from behind in the fourth quarter to win that one on the enemy floor. The Garfield Bulldogs starting lineup will include Ed Roy, 6'6" forward, and Roy Smiley, a 6'4" guard. Now, they are the two headliners, but they've got a point guard on this team by the name of JayVon Nickens, a 5-year senior, 6'1" guard, who figures to see early in this game a lot of time on Jamal Crawford. He is the stopper. He's a sensational defensive player, along with Ira Davis, a 6-foot senior guard who might be their all-round best athlete. Plays a variety of sports over at Garfield. Let's take a look at the 3A state rankings. And of course, they'll change a little bit because Mercer Island was beaten in game 1 of the King Holiday Hoop Fest by Bellarmine. Mercer Island touts 4, their starting 5, headed toward Division I programs next year. Mount Vernon is number 2, O'Day number 3, West Valley from Spokane number 4, Jackson, Ingraham, Ellensburg, Rainier Beach, Kennedy, and Olympia round out the top 10 in the 3A. The 4A, which is the biggest high school division. If you don't follow high school basketball or haven't up until this point, it's the biggest high school division, obviously 3A, 2A, 1A. Evergreen of Vancouver ranks number 1, Central Valley number 2, Bethel 3, Lincoln 4, Davis and Franklin is 5. Garfield down there at number 7 in tonight's rankings. Introduction to the starting lineups, and this got to be a thrill for these kids, MJ, because to my knowledge, they don't play games here other than the King Holiday Hoop Fest at Key Arena. So this is a chance to see them play where Peyton, Kemp, Vin Baker, all their favorites have played basketball.
Well, I remember as a high school player in Los Angeles being honored at the Forum and just going onto the floor at halftime during a Laker game was a big thrill. Shaking Elgin Baylor's hand was a big thrill. These kids get to actually run up and down the floor, the same floor that Sean Kemp used to run up and down. Now Gary Payton, Vin Baker, and all the Sonic players. So you're right, Kevin. It's a major thrill, something that they'll never forget. For one night at least, they can pretend that they're like the Sonics or Trailblazers or whoever is their favorite team, probably Sonics.
Well, it was interesting. I went over Friday to Eastside Catholic in Bellevue and watched them play. And they played a heck of a ball game, by the way, against Rainier Beach. But it was a small gym. It was a junior high gym, about junior high dimensions. So Rainier Beach wasn't really able to get up and go with it. Eastside Catholic played a lot of slowdown, played in the half court, and it took quite an effort by Rainier Beach in the fourth quarter to come from behind and win that game. But earlier at Franklin High School, they got out and ran as Garfield and Franklin went at it. Franklin, outstanding basketball team with, as we mentioned, Jimmy Haywood, a kid that's headed toward Oregon State. Really had a great one-on-one matchup with the Garfield point guard, JayVon Nickens.
So instead of like 94 feet of pressure, it was like 83 and a half.
It was about 80 of half-court basketball.
About 81 and a half feet of
it was fun. I just had a great time, and of course, both gyms were absolutely packed. High school basketball is big, and it's getting bigger here in the state of Washington, and certainly here in the city of Seattle. Here is Jamal Crawford coming out onto the floor. Long, lanky, 6'5", silky smooth, and just has a real presence about him and has a great vision of the floor.
Yeah, well, he signed with Michigan in the early signing period, so he has to have a lot of talent to be able to compete in the Big Ten. And he's playing the guard position at 6'5", can handle the ball. We talked about his passing. A lot of times teammates aren't ready. They get beat upside the head with the basketball if you're not watching it. But I like the headband. They're bringing the headband back. I like that. That slick Watts kind of look. Baron Davis did it a couple of weeks ago against Oregon. I like that.
Garfield has Finn Rabasso up front, along with this man, Ed Roy, 6'6" junior. Rabasso is 6'6". They've got a heavy-duty front line. There's a look at Ed Roy. Finished strong his sophomore year, average 11 points per ball game. And first-team all-tournament at the state. The tip is won by Garfield, and it's controlled by JayVon. Nickens out front beyond the three-point ring. Our officials are Woody Woodruff and Scott Federley. This is Roy Smiley driving into the lane, lost the handle as he went up, lost it out of bounds. And it will be awarded to Rainier Beach, wearing the black trimmed in white tonight.
And Garfield, they've got full court man-to-man pressure, kind of token pressure, going to allow the ball to be brought up under a little bit of pressure, but not trying to all-out press this Rainier Beach team here early.
Ricky Frazier handling it 5'9" with Nickens on him, drives in, drew the double team, dumps to Crawford. Nice scoop pass down low. Frazier going to clear it outside, and with it is Jamal Crawford. Crawford working on 6-foot Ira Davis, drives right by him, springs into the air, but missed the runner. Rebound to Roy Smiley.
My first time looking at Jamal Crawford, his very first pass, you can tell he's a big-time player. Going right, just a hook pass back to his left, and the guy receiving, Frazier, wasn't ready for the pass.
He blew by a quick guy, too, Ira Davis, who drives the other way, and a give and go from Ed Roy. And Davis draws first blood for the Garfield Bulldogs. 2-0 Garfield.
And this is an idea of Crawford's talent. He is the one bringing the ball up under pressure in the backcourt.
Ricky Frazier, good handler of the basketball. The shirt's way down below the knees, and the socks up above the knees. You don't see much skip. Ball tapped free, grabbed by Ed Roy, behind the back dribble, exposed into the lane, lost the handle, loose to the corner. He's upended and chopped down. The ball goes out of bounds, and last touch by Rainier Beach along the far sideline.
Ed Roy may be trying to do too much. One of the weaknesses of his game is putting the ball on the floor. Try to go behind his back, almost had the ball stolen, but he is a strong inside presence.
Ball goes in a low block right. It's Nickens with a turnaround hopper left and short. Roy with a left-hand follow reverse won't go. Rebound cleared by Rainier Beach. They want to run. Frazier with it. Drives to the hole. Loops up a runner. Won't go. Davis with a tip. Has it. And now here come the Bulldogs leading 2-0. Crawford will pick up Davis. Davis explodes into the lane. Jump stops. Leaps to the hole. Couldn't coax in the runner. Ball deflected by Rabasso. He's brought down upended. And the ball comes through to Frazier. Long lead pass and a beauty inside to Ellis for the land. Great pass by Ricky Frazier.
I'll tell you what, Garfield is going to crash the boards. They have the size advantage. You saw it on that play. If Rainier Beach can continue to rebound the basketball, they're going to get the numbers at the other end. That time it was a 2-on-1 that they converted beautifully.
Tim Ellis with a bucket, Frazier with the assist, and we're tied at 2-2.
I mean, Garfield had like 4 players in the paint attacking the glass net. They're trying to do that to slow down Rainier Beach, who likes to get into transition as often as possible. So they try and use their offensive rebounding to slow down the break. But that time, Rainier Beach did a good job of getting the ball off the backboards and then look it up court.
Beach is going to pick up full court. Nickens is shadowed by Frazier across midcourt. JayVon swings it near side to Ira Davis. Looking low for Rabasso, has a mismatch there on Basie and lays it up and in. The 6'6" Rabasso with a fall-away jump shot.
Yeah, they say that Rabasso can get to the basket, has some pretty decent inside moves. That was a nice-looking little turnaround fade that time.
Nice little back cut inside. Ellis misses the lay-in. Crawford threw a dime in there, but Ellis couldn't draw it home. Rebound deflected, controlled by Rainier Beach. Crawford with a skipping dribble, lost it behind the back. Davis has got it. He tried to bring it up the floor, but Ellis pokes it away. Timmy in backcourt, swings it ahead. Nice pass in low, clearing deep with a drop step spin hook as Ellis missed it. Follow up and in. Good if it goes, it does, and they'll go to the line.
Yeah, that's a beautiful job of hustle inside by Tim Ellis. Tim Ellis makes it the steal at midcourt, gets the basketball back, and then a little spin move, gets the foul on the left arm, and then rebounds his own miss, puts it back up strong, gets another foul twice on one play. Finally gets the second call.
Ellis became a regular 20-plus point per game scorer during the summer as he advanced his game from a role player to a solid scoring contributor.
And he had an older brother, Roselle, and a sister, Kyrene. Both were Metro Conference MVPs, so he's got some pretty good basketball bloodlines. Tim Ellis.
Got a real knack. He ties the game at 4-4 with 5:17 to go in the first quarter. Actually, it's 5-4 Rainier Beach with a three-point play from Ellis, the bucket of the free throw. Now Nickens trips between a double team, gives over to Smiley, and he hits a lovely floating hanger from the end line. Roy Smiley.
Yeah, that's a nice job. Nice offense. Create, draw the defense, find the open guy.
Nice screen set out there on Davis. Running him off the pick was Jamal Crawford, but they're going to call it a moving screen out there. Set by Nate Robinson.
And here's the penetration. Draw a couple of defenders. That's a nice little one-handed floater that started outside the paint.
Actually, that was Andre Franklin with the screen. And an illegal one at that, which will give it back to Garfield. Here's Davis, near wing, covered by Crawford. Smiley drops low, now a clear out. Rabasso comes to the top. Left side to Smiley, one dribbling up with a jumper. A flat shot rolls off. Crawford flips it out to Ellis, but there's Ira Davis to gobble it up for Garfield. Drives into the lane, sneaks a pass between defenders. Boy, Smiley wasn't ready for it, and out of bounds it scoots. Rainier Beach ball.
Yeah, not a bad idea by Davis. Did a nice job again penetrating, got down the gut of the defense, and kind of threw a wrap around the body pass that I think Smiley lost vision of momentarily, which caused him not to be able to pick the ball up.
Crawford is a razor. Man, is he thin. All arms and legs. So's Ellis. Cross court, Frazier at 5'9". Back to Crawford for the three. Bingo.
Like razor this. I'm raising all right, raising up for the jump shot. I mean, he is thin, but he probably possesses that kind of wiry strength that you see in thinner players like a Jamal Wilkes, for example, that it doesn't really hurt him too much on the basketball floor.
8-6 count. Driving in is Nickens. His shot blocked by Crawford. Rabasso following, cleans it up, tried to lay it home. He's fouled in the act. And Finn Rabasso will go to the line for two.
And you're talking about Jamal Crawford also. I mean, guys like that, I mean, college recruiters look at them and see that they can put 10, 15, 20 pounds on them by the time they're juniors. So, he'll bulk up in time. The important thing is that he has skills, baby. He's got skills.
Rainier Beach leads Garfield 8-6 in the early going with Marcus Johnson and Dave Crosby. I'm Kevin Calabro. And this is the Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Hoop Fest from Key Arena.
I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Welcome back to Key Arena with Marcus Johnson, Dave Crosby, Kevin Calabro. Rainier Beach leads Garfield 8-6 with 3:52 left in the first quarter. Finn Rabasso.
He's a rebounder. Finn Rabasso, 6'6", junior forward. Listed here at 6'4", but he's grown a couple of inches since that graphic was put together. He likes to crash. Looks more like 6'4", 6'5". They have him listed here in the program at 6'6", but I don't think he's that tall.
It's a couple of free throws. It's 8-8, 3:46 left in the first quarter of play. Ellis tests the grounds on the right side, doubled outside to Crawford, flashes a pass in low mid-block right. They dump it outside to the point. Frazier in the corner, Ellis, and he knocks down the baseline jumper.
Crawford changes into the 2-3 zone. Nice job by Rainier Beach to recognize and find the open shot.
Crawford rushes up in the front court and deflects a pass away intended for Chester Simmons now in the lineup.
Again, just recognize the zone, move the basketball around the court, move it around the perimeter. There's a wide open guy in the corner, kind of a breakdown on that back line of the 2-3 zone. Somebody's got to get out there and challenge that. That's too easy, a 16-foot open shot.
This is Simmons handling in a big fourth quarter at Franklin earlier this week. And Ira Davis just throws it away right to Ricky Frazier.
And Rainier Beach goes into a 2-3 zone of their own, so tit for tat.
Frazier will bring it out. Dogs have three across the front. Crawford tried to flip the pass in low, deflected by Rabasso. Here's Smiley on the delivering end with a finger roll on the move, missed it. Frazier the rebound. Long lead pass to Ellis, overthrew him off the fingertips and out of bounds.
We talked about Rainier Beach. They're looking to push it. Makes, misses, out of timeouts, in timeouts. It doesn't matter. They want to run. Ball was just too little bit long for Ellis to handle, but they would have had an easy 2 points because Garfield, again, likes to crash the boards with all 5 players at most of the time.
See Mike Bethia, the coach of Rainier Beach, up off the bench just a moment ago. Beach again, 3 across the front, 2 deep. And they got a 2-1-2 going. Stacking up in the paint. Trying to force Smiley with a jumper in the corner. He won't take it out to Davis. He will. The three is short. Running over to the rebound in Roy. He's a slow starter in the game. Outside it comes to Smiley, missed it. Roy the rebound, reverse off the window, no. Simmons tried to keep it alive, but there's little Ricky Frazier to dig it out from the pack at 5'9". It's in the cross court to Crawford. Lob pass and a beauty. Hanging it up high is Ellis to meet it. But a two-hand alley-oop jam.
And just a beautiful setup by Crawford from about 25 feet on the left side. He found his guy Ellis kind of lurking behind the backside of that zone and threw it up there right where he could put it in the basket with a nice finish.
Crowd murmurs. Ellis with 9 points. And Crawford with a gorgeous pass, and it's Rainier Beach 12 and Garfield 8 with 2 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah, they made eye contact when Ellis was about 10, 12 feet from the bucket. This is where they make the eye contact. Crawford just kind of throws it blindly. A nice job by his teammate to go up there and finish it strong.
Bulldogs with some subs. They get bigger with Darren Johnson, 6'6" senior forward, checking in. Crawford outside with a long hopper. Off balance, 3 catches window. Guess who got the rebound? Ellis. Slapped away by Darren Johnson in the corner and recovered by his teammate Roy Smiley. Out to Nickens. He's been quiet. Crosses over. Frazier keeps him at bay, but had hands on him for the foul.
JayVon Nickens, the 5th-year senior. He's the guy that keeps his team under control when things get a little bit out of hand. Not a great shooter from the outside, but more of a sure-handed ball handler that can try and break down Frazier's defense.
Nickens trying to feed to the post to Simmons, slaps it back outside. Nickens with it, cross court. Smiley with good range. The 3 is up, off the back rim, goes over the basket, out of bounds. It'll be Rainier Beach ball. Beach leading 12-8 with 1:29 left here in the first quarter.
And it seems like Beach they're pretty content to sit back in the zone and make Garfield make some outside jump shots before they go back into a man-to-man. Garfield, on the other hand, they're coming out of that zone, back into full court pressure, man-to-man D.
Crawford, quick burst of speed with a left-hand dribble. The follow-away baseliner won't go. Rebound to Nickens, great outlet. Smiley 2-on-1 with Simmons, fakes the give, lays it up, wouldn't go. And there's Frazier taking a floor burn as he took the brunt of Roy Smiley's drive. Did a nice job to disrupt him slightly and gets the ball back. Frazier into the lane. The running push shot is good. No, it won't count. He flattened Rabasso. Charge called to Frazier.
Now that's a crazy-looking one-handed runner, but I've been told he's been shooting that shot since the 5th grade. I thought maybe he got rid of the basketball before the contact, but the official says no. But this is a shot that he'll shoot a lot when he penetrates, gets in the paint, and he feels very comfortable that this shot is going to go in the basket for him. Rabasso does a nice job staying in there, taking the hit, giving up the body, but when Frazier penetrates like that and with the ability to score in the paint, he could present some problems for Garfield.
Carl McGinnis now will step in for Rainier Beach. He's in the middle of that zone defense. Basso comes to the top of the free throw line, dumps it back outside to Nickens. Pull-up jumper from the angle's good. JayVon Nickens with a gorgeous shot. Now pressure after the made bucket. Crawford will get it, and they back off. Now they switch Nickens on Crawford. Crawford looks at him in the rearview mirror, crosses over, drives in. Great setup for Ellis, and a finger roll is a beauty. I like that. Sensational setup by Crawford.
Oh, so they got some pretty good players up here in Washington, eh? That was a nice... The first thing he did, he was looking at the defender as he advanced the ball from the backcourt. I like that best of all. Then broke him down with a killer crossover, made a great pass inside.
Nickens the other way. Hurries the shot. Missed it. Crawford the rebound. Out to Frazier. Will run. Challenges Smiley into the lane. And a foul on Roy Smiley.
That's Rainier Beach basketball. Get it off the glass. Look to get it up the court as soon as possible. With Jamal Crawford, you want to run the basketball through his hands as much as possible. He seems to just make outstanding decisions with the basketball. That time found Ricky Frazier, who drew the foul. There's that crossover, and then after he draws 3 defenders, and a lot of coaches say don't jump in there and pass, but George Karl here in Seattle used to say, hey, as long as you can get down the seam of a zone and find somebody over the top, just like he did on that play, it's okay to jump in the air and pass the basketball. And Jamal got a little excited after that assist.
We like that one.
Yeah, well, I like to see a guy get as excited by an assist as he does by a dunk for himself. You know, that's when I know I got a guy who's unselfish, that likes to get other guys off, and who's really into the team concept.
And right now, the recipient has been Tim Ellis with 11 points to lead Rainier Beach. Beach leading 14-10 with 10 seconds left in the first quarter.
And so far, Rainier Beach has done a nice job negating the size advantage of Garfield. We haven't really noticed that Garfield is so much bigger than Rainier Beach is on the floor right now.
Frazier hits the free throw, and then Ira Davis is pressured in backcourt by 6'5" Crawford, and he throws it down the sideline and out of bounds.
So the quickness, you hear a lot of coaches say, I'd rather have a quick team than a big team. Quickness can present a lot of problems that time with the press they did.
Crawford with 4 with 3. The 3 with 2 is off the rim, hanging. Rebound cleared by Smiley, and that ends the first quarter of play. The score with Tim Ellis leading Rainier Beach with 11, and Jamal Crawford playing a sensational floor game. Rainier Beach 15, Garfield 10. Back with more of the King Holiday Hoop Fest in a moment. We pick up the second quarter of action between Rainier Beach and Garfield, and Chester Simmons breaks away on a disruption for the lay-in for Garfield, and it's 15-12 Rainier Beach. And here comes Crawford down the left side. Look at that, swooping in left to right hand. Finger rolls it off the window and in.
I'm just watching his whole body language on the floor. You can't tell me that he hasn't watched Gary Payton play a lot during Gary's career here in Seattle. He has a lot of Payton kind of mannerisms to his game.
The Basso baseline right with double. Outside to Simmons, and they rotate. Ira Davis to Chester Simmons. Rainier Beach packs it in his own defense. Simmons is a pretty good guy at penetrating finishing, but Beach just closes him out. Here's Davis. Pump fakes, drives in. Nice handoff. That's Johnson up and in. The 6'6" Johnson from Ira Davis.
It looks like Garfield, they don't have the real sure shot from outside, the guys that can knock down a long bomb, so they're going to have to find some seams in this zone and do just that. Penetrate, look to kick it off for a layup inside.
David Hudson, a crafty left-hander, good shooter in the lineup now for Rainier Beach. Outside, Crawford, ball picked away by Davis, but then reaching in from behind, a foul on Rainier Beach.
Davis did a nice job anticipating where the crossover was going to occur. You see a lot of guys use that kind of hesitation crossover. Tim Hardaway kind of popularized. David just put his hands down there in the middle of the floor, just waiting for the basketball to come to him, came up with the steal.
Dave Crosby at KJR Radio and Kenny Smith broadcast this game last year, and Jamal Crawford was part of it. And Crosby, has he gotten any better?
You know what's funny? On him a thin blade right now. You think he was thin now? You should look at him last year. And I'm wondering how he's going to do against the Big Ten competition at Michigan next year. Let's go back to you guys.
Now they'll hide him. He'll run by guys. I can see him running by A.J. Guyton right now. They beat Indiana. Here's Hudson with a steal. Long lead pass to Ellis. Strides into the lane and lays it up and in. And this Ellis is a fine player as well, Marcus.
Very smooth, very silky. Just a junior. Tim Ellis, 6'4". Nice job on the layup that time.
13 for Ellis. Rainier Beach leads by 5. Dribble drive into the lane. That's Chet Simmons busted in. Johnson the follow missed it. Up in the left hand missed it. Rebound Roy. Going to the hole. Working hard. Laying it up, and he's fouled upside the head. He'll go to the line for 2. Now Garfield doing what they do best, and that is crash the glass.
Yeah, and that's what they have to do again, to slow down Rainier Beach, especially Ed Roy. You talked about him being a slow starter. Just a junior, played on the state championship team last year, but did a nice job keeping the ball alive, tapping it to himself, and then finally got to the free throw line for his efforts.
5:58 left here in the second period, and Rainier Beach leading Garfield 19-14.
And Rainier Beach, they've got to do a better job of keeping Garfield out of the gut of their zone defense. Got to stop penetration, even if you have to pack it back a little bit deeper. You got to force Garfield to make an outside shot. Make them prove to you that they can knock down jumpers right there in the stats. They're 0 for 4 from the three-point line.
KJR first quarter stats. Rainier Beach 6 of 14 from the field, and the Bulldogs 4 of 15. Lineup change now for Rainier Beach, but Crawford will stay on, and so will David Hudson and Tim Ellis. So the core of the Rainier Beach club will stay on the floor.
But they play so hard, and they extend their pressure so much during the course of the game that you've got to find a couple of minutes of rest time, downtime for your players. Nice job by Coach Mike Mathea to rotate his players in and out.
Here comes Crawford down the left side, and this time shadowed by Davis. He'll take a 3 over him. That ball had odd rotation, sideways rotation on it. Clangs short, goes out of bounds. It'll be Garfield basketball.
And one of the things about Jamal Crawford, one of the knocks, was his shot selection at times. We've seen him kind of force a couple of shots early within their offense. Their coach tells him, hey, move the ball around a little bit. You'll always get your shot when you need to.
Smiley, 6'4" junior, dumps it low to 6'6" junior Ed Roy. Ball deflected away and stolen. Crawford in the open floor, into the lane. Long strides, hands off to Ellis. Surprised him with a pass, he missed the shot. Rebound Simmons out to Smiley, on to Roy. In he comes to lay it up and in high above the rim.
That's one of those passes that we talked about. Crawford threw that his teammate wasn't ready, wasn't prepared to handle. And you got to be ready when Crawford has the ball to receive it at any time.
Timeout called by Rainier Beach and Bill Conroy, the point guard. The score with 5:14 left in the first half from Key Arena. Rainier Beach 19, Garfield 18. And this, of course, is the King Holiday Hoop Fest. We'll have at halftime an update and highlights on the games played previous to this one. So you want to stick around for that.
And this is from the missed shot by Jamal Crawford. Garfield going to take advantage. Ed Roy, the beneficiary, nice unselfish pass from a teammate to hit the guy that's ahead of you. A lot of times you see, especially on the high school level, guys trying to get into the books and kind of ignore when there's a teammate ahead of the pack. But for Garfield, to their credit, they didn't do it.
Garfield's going to come out with Simmons, Nickens, Davis, Roy, and Smiley. And Jamal Crawford will handle now the inbound for Rainier Beach by touching in the corner. Dribbling in the corner, double team, driven outside. The left-hander will swing it to Crawford to the top. No shot clock in high school ball. Crawford drives in, double pumps and lays it in. Split the D easily and finished beautifully.
And a good job by Rainier Beach. 1-4 offense, flatten out the baseline with 4 offensive players to just give Jamal Crawford room to operate.
Chet Simmons drops it low. Going to work is Ed Roy. Nice drop step spin, couldn't finish. Rebound up and in by JayVon Nickens. The senior guard sneaks in for the putback. Beach coming back the other way in a hurry. This is Conroy hustling into the lane. The ball was stripped by Nickens. Off the leg of Conroy and out of bounds. Good play by JayVon.
Rainier Beach in a 2-3 zone. They should have pretty good rebounding position on that back line. You got to put some body on the Garfield offensive rebounders. Can't allow them to sneak in there for easy putbacks. That is a real key for Garfield to try and crash the offensive board.
Beach by 1, 4:23 left first half. Cross-court pass deflected. Grab by Ellis. Ahead to Conroy with Hudson. Now a 3-on-2 as Ellis joins in. Conroy will turn it outside. Trailing is Crawford. Jamal backs up, starts into the lane, drew the double, kick to Hudson, a good shooter.
Nice.
Drains the 3.
That's nice. Under control, Jamal Crawford did a nice job backing out, hesitation, and blowing by 2 defenders, drew 2 more, found the open guy Hudson on the baseline for the jump shot.
Double team is Nickens, tried to force a pass of traffic to Roy. Batted down and controlled by Rainier Beach. Crawford on the run to the left side. Look at that hesitation. Dribble drive and banks it in with the right hand. Good. Golly, what a move.
And leaves Chester Simmons in his wake down at the other end. I think Jamal Crawford might have led with the knees on that layup. You know about that, don't you? You got to lead with the knees, get the defense out of the way.
26-20. Crawford with the hesitation shuffle into the lane and the finish. What a beauty. 3:45 left in the first half, and we'll be back.
10 says, stay in school. It's your best move.
Welcome back, along with MJ, Kevin Calabro, Dave Crosby in the house as well. Rainier Beach leading 26-20, 3:45 to go first half. An extremely entertaining run. Ellis leading Rainier Beach with 13. Jamal Crawford has 9 and has thrown several fine passes.
And made some spectacular drives to the basket, showing a great ability just to handle the ball, the little hesitation dribble. He's kind of mastered that.
Garfield going to work. Again, Rainier Beach lean back in that zone. The Bulldogs having trouble trying to get it low to the big man. Ed Roy dumps it to Smiley, the leaper from 15. Ellis hauls it down. That's what's been interesting is Rainier Beach has done a nice job on that defensive glass. Here comes Crawford into the lane. Nice step to the hole. Lays it off to Ellis, but he powers into Davis for the charge. Ira Davis stands his ground in front of the bucket.
Now, that was a case where leaving his feet caused him some problems, but this is more of a man-to-man situation, not as against the zone. You got a guy back there, Ira Davis, just kind of waiting on Crawford. He's got to come to a jump stop in that situation, be a little bit more under control, but you know, how do you put the reins on this kid? He does so many good things that you allow him to have a turnover like that every once in a while.
JayVon Nickens at the top, left side Ira Davis. They swing it to the high post, then he tries to drop it low. Roy does to Rabasso, deflected by Ellis. And he's in on every defensive play. Crawford throws it in the lane, but Smiley did a great job to play the passing lane for the pick. Roy will get it back. Down low to Ed Roy. He lost a handle on it. He had Rabasso along the baseline wide open, and he looked to the target and didn't follow the ball into the hands.
And I think one reason why the coach of Rainier Beach, Mike Bethea, plays this zone, he kind of hides Crawford on the left low side where he didn't have to do a whole lot. And you want to kind of have him reserve as much energy as possible because he makes so much happens at the offensive end. You don't want to expend him defensively too much.
Beach leading by 6. Conroy trying to find an opening, drives in, he draws the foul. Reaching in was Ira Davis.
And as you talked about, Kevin, Rainier Beach doing a nice job keeping Garfield off the offensive glass. Garfield's gotten a couple of offensive rebound putbacks, but for the most part, a guy like Rabasso, we haven't heard a whole lot about it. Roy hadn't done a whole lot of damage inside. Roy Smiley either. That means that Garfield's back line is doing a nice job blocking out, being fundamentally sound, coming up with the defensive rebounds.
Ellis brings it in bounds, and he throws one over to MJ. Out of bounds. So Garfield will take possession.
But now turnovers, Rainier Beach are starting to get a little sloppy. That's about 2 or 3 plays in a row. They had the offensive foul against Crawford. Crawford goes back down, throws another pass away. This time a little miscue on the inbounds pass. They've got to settle down. It's that old tortoise in the hare kind of syndrome where one team starts out quickly, but the other team just stays solid and patient.
Rabasso with a fall-away jumper, but shoved in the act. David Hudson got him. Rabasso to the line with Rainier Beach leading by 6, 26-20. 2:16 left here in the second quarter. Play a good showing here at Key Arena this evening in Seattle. This is the third of a triple header. It started at 3 o'clock this afternoon when Mercer Island was upended by Bellarmine of Tacoma. The 4A Bellarmine Ball Club beating the 3A Mercer Island squad. And Lorenzo Lomar was here to coach Pepperdine, and he's got a couple players on that Bellarmine team.
Yeah, got a big kid, got a shooting forward, so he's up here trying to get as much as he can out of the Seattle area.
A lot of talent here. Here's Ellis sidelining into the lane off to the miss. Rabasso free throw. Missed a shot short. Rabasso comes back, clears the rebound. Ellis bursts into the lane, jump stops, lost the handle, got it back. Loops it outside, and Garfield will set it. With 1:56 left, down 4 here in the first half. Smiley miscues out of the corner. Smiley a better shooter than we have seen here. Crawford the other way, and Roy lunges at the ball. And a foul called on the 6'4 junior, Roy Smiley from Garfield.
But they always look, Rainier Beach does, to get the ball into the hands of Jamal Crawford. Even though they have Ricky Frazier, 5'9", who is really kind of the point guard, they know that Crawford is a guy that can penetrate, draw defense, and get you an open shot.
Rainier Beach 5'4", with the handle. Reaching in Davis, trying to get it away from Ricky Frazier. Frazier busts away, drives in. The ball deflected away by Rabasso. Frazier in the air was helpless. Rabasso had set up before Ricky had left his feet, and the foul's on Ricky Frazier.
And that's the scouting report. I'm sure the Garfield coaches told their guys, look, they'll penetrate, they'll come down the lane out of control. If we just stay in there, take the hit, we can cause the turnover. An offensive foul is a turnover. Get your team another possession. All you got to do is be willing to give up the body. And Finn Rabasso has a lot of body to give up. He's a thick one.
Chester Simmons now comes in for Roy Smiley. Bulldogs set up. This is Chet Simmons with it. Back to Davis. He wasn't looking. Ball got away, but Nickens comes up with it. 1:20 left in the first half. JayVon feeds the post. Rabasso wheels it outside to Davis. Turns, jumper away. Crawford the rebound. Great outlet. Leads Frazier. Ricky with the angle. To the glass. Gives off inside, and there's Ellis to lay it up and in.
Nice job again in transition. Jamal Crawford actually went up and over Ed Roy, a bigger, stronger player, to come down with that defensive rebound to key the fast break.
Ellis with 15 first half points. Rainier Beach by 6.
Quiet 15, just doing it from passes from Crawford. That time ran the break for Frazier. You gotta know how to score the easy buckets. He's done that in this game tonight.
Davis outside for a 3. The flat shot rolls off. Crawford seals off Simmons for the rebound. Jamal looking right, looking left, behind the back. Leaves it in the corner for Ellis. Underthrew him and out of bounds.
And again, that's another one of those plays where he's slightly out of control. I mean, he's going for the ooh and the ah from the crowd as opposed to jump stopping, making the bounce pass. But again, I hate to knock him because he's such a good basketball player, and I'm sure his coach gives him a lot of freedom, gives him that long leash to try things like that. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Rainier Beach Vikings leading 28-22. 26 seconds left in the first half. Garfield ball.
Sometimes you get the barrel, sometimes the barrel gets you.
That's right. Left side is Simmons. Dumps it on top to Nickens. Takes a look. Heels it near side to Roy Smiley. Nice job of moving the ball out to the top. In low to Rapasso. Missed it. The follow by Ed Roy. And maybe that will ignite Ed Roy, who's been quiet to this point. 28-24. Buzzer shot by Ellis, well off the mark. And a well-played first half by both clubs. Rainier Beach at half here at Key Arena, leading Garfield High School 28-24. We'll be back with a recap of the day's activities from the King Holiday Hoop Fest at Key Arena in just a moment.
I just want to do God's will, and He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Welcome back to the King Holiday Hoop Fest. Rainier Beach and Garfield getting after it here at halftime. It's the Vikings leading the Dogs 28-24. As we talked before the game, Rainier Beach had the advantage on Garfield in that they had some track stars, and they've used them to their advantage. It's been Crawford and Ellis.
Yeah, they've done a nice job of getting out and running, but you have to rebound to do that. And Rainier Beach has done a real nice job with their small lineup of hitting the defensive boards, blocking out, and then keying their fast break.
Tim Ellis with 15 points, and he's really the ideal guy to run with Crawford, because when you run with a passer like Crawford, you get the good stuff.
Yeah, and that's smart. I mean, I was a garbage man, or garbage, as I used to say, and you got to know how to do that, how to get yourself open. So when you got a guy who passes the ball well like Crawford, you're right there for him to give it to you, and then you finish off the play for him.
Let's do a little chalk talk now with the master, Marcus Johnson, here on the King Holiday Hoop Fest.
And talking about this basketball game so far, it's all about Jamal Crawford. You want the ball in his hands. Now, he's shown the ability on this play to knock down the outside shot, but here's where you want him handling the basketball, making decisions, a little blind flip in the side to Hudson, who buries the jumper from the right side. Then he's going to do it on his own with a little Gary Payton flip, and then an off the wrong leg runner going to his left. He's done just about everything. Jamal Crawford, rebound, penetrate, pass, shoot. He is everything that he was talked up to be at the beginning of this basketball game.
Chalk talk. Are you driving a bug? Did you drive a VW to the game tonight? Maybe you should.
Yeah, something like that.
With that green thing out in the parking lot of yours. We're here at halftime. Rainier Beach leads Garfield 28-24. We'll be right back in a moment. A great triple header here at Key Arena this afternoon and this evening. Right now, Game 3 in our feature event, Rainier Beach 28 and Garfield 24. Tim Ellis at halftime leads Rainier Beach with 15. Jamal Crawford, the smooth passing senior, has 9 points. Let's take a look back at the day's events. It began with the Mercer Islanders and the venerable Ed Peppel. And Mercer Island came in ranked number 1, taking on Bellarmine Prep. They are 4A, Mercer Island 3A. Bellarmine Prep led by Brandon Merritt with 17 and Jesse Keeley with 16 points. They came away with a win, 53-47 over the Mercer Islanders. They were led by Tyler Bessiker, who had 16 points. Double figures as well for Josh Fisher. He had 13, and Mac Logie with 10. The final again, 53-47, Bellarmine Prep from Tacoma to win over Mercer Island. Then in Game 2, you had the Mariner Marauders and the Cascade Bruins. Final in this one, Cascade 51 and the Mariner Marauders 48. Cascade got a 17-point effort from Tony Auckland. And for Mariner, it was the 23 from T.Ho Johnson with 9 rebounds to lead the losers in that event. And I tell you what, I've never seen two bigger high school kids than T.Ho Johnson, who must weigh 240, about 6'6", and his running mate, Amon Gordon, who's 6'4", and about 240. They're both juniors and both Division I football players, if not Division I basketball players. Joining us on the broadcast this evening, Dave Grosby, and he's got a very special guest down courtside. Gros.
All right, thanks, Kev. We're here with Dwayne Casey, a man who's been in a lot of high school gyms. And this is a little bit nicer than that normally, but seeing some great basketball here today.
Well, first of all, you got some of the top teams in the city of Seattle. And Jamal Crawford, I would have to say, is one of the top prospects in the country. I talked to Brian Ellerby last week, who's very elated in the fact that he got Jamal Crawford. I recruited Brian back when he was in high school, when I was at Western Kentucky. So he was calling me, wanting to know about Jamal. And I was working with him for a little while when he was playing for Georgia's team. So this is the first time I've seen him play this year, and he has vastly improved.
Yeah, he has got game. There is no question about that. It's amazing to me, 2 years now, this Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Hoop Fest, to see where it has come so quickly and on this great day to have it. What's your reaction to seeing it this year versus last year?
Albert Hall and his group has done a great job of getting the fan support, the community support, and it's for a great cause. A lot of these young kids need to know the legacy of Martin Luther King. I grew up with it. A lot of the athletes that are playing in the NBA grew up with it, but the tradition needs to go on, and they're doing a great job of having the legacy to go on.
All right, Coach, get back to watching. You're going to be working here pretty soon, we think.
Well,
anyway.
We hope so, Graz. They said either Wednesday or Thursday, and we're keeping our fingers crossed.
All right, Kevin and Marcus, back to you guys.
Dave, thanks. Great to have you on board. And Dwayne Casey's going to go back to work probably Wednesday or Thursday with the Supersonics. 28-24, Rainier Beach at half. We'll be back with more in a moment.
I just want to do God's will, and He's allowed me to go. I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Hello, I'm Senator Patty Murray. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of today's event. I hope all of you who are participating come away with a renewed commitment to your school and community. As a nation, we are pursuing Dr. King's dream, and we need to keep working towards that goal. Best of luck to all of you in pursuing your dreams.
Welcome back, Rainier Beach at halftime, leading Garfield 28-24 with Marcus Johnson and Kevin Calabro. Dave Crosby is joining us on the broadcast tonight as well on this simulcast on Conk TV. We want to thank those folks and for them facilitating the broadcast, as well as KJR Radio here in Seattle. Now it's time for the highlight package, and there were some beauties in that first half of play.
Yeah, nice job by number 12, Ira Davis, on a little give and go. Gets it from Roy, the big guy, Ed Roy inside, finishes off the left. And then Finn Rabasso, watch this little fade on the right box as Finn knocks down the little medium range jump shot for Garfield. But then for Rainier Beach, Tim Ellis, it's a fluid 6'4" forward, does a nice job taking it to the rack. But the story for the most part has been Jamal Crawford. His ability to get to the basket, nice job, floats by the basket, reaches back, and still able to kiss it off the glass with the masse. The masse.
Crawford had 9 points. He had 3 assists. Ellis had the 15 points. The lead away for Rainier Beach. Take a look at the field goal shooting. Rainier Beach 12 of 23, 52. Dogs not shooting well. Particularly Roy Smiley. Now he's a better shooter than we have seen. He's had some opportunities, MJ, but he's 1 for 8, and the Dogs 9 for 28, 32%. Rebounding totals, as you might expect, Garfield, a bigger team, outboarding Rainier Beach 17-13, and both clubs turning the ball over. A lot of adrenaline flowing out there.
And the Roy boys in Roy Smiley, 3 for 13 between them. And you talked about Ed Roy being the slow starter. He started to come on a little bit at the end of the second quarter, but Roy Smiley has got to get it going. Garfield needs his scoring if they want to have a chance to win this game.
Start Chester Simmons here in the second half now for the Bulldogs. Basso has it at the post outside the Nickens. That's Simmons right wing. Nickens, cross-court to Smiley, dumps it low to Roy, backs into a double team, turns, banks, and scores. Nice play, Ed Roy.
That was a beautiful move. That was an inside pivot after he caught the ball on the move, and then while on the move, able to find the angle on the backboard for the kiss.
Beats by Deuce. The Vikings up the floor, skipping with it. Crawford, shadowed by Nickens. To Ellis. Let's see what kind of range he's got. Range, 17-footer from the near angle.
He's just a junior and averaged 20 points a game in summer league play this year. Started to find himself as an offensive player.
Good-looking jumper by Ellis, who to this point has scored most of his stuff in transition. Long jumper by Simmons, cascades off the rim. Rebound to Ed Roy, but poked out of bounds. Last touch by Beach.
And I'm sure Garfield, their coaches are saying, hey, you know, yeah, sure, they've gotten a lot of the fan reaction because of the spectacular plays of Jamal Crawford, but you look up at the scoreboard, we're just down 4 points here. Let's just keep plugging away. We can win this game, but we've got to knock down some outside shots at some point.
Wayne Floyd looking on as his club handles. Here's Simmons to the baseline. Nice little double pump scoop, won't go. Rabasso with a rebound, deflected. Simmons comes up with the putback, no. Roy had it, lost it. Rabasso muscles it free, then it's tied up, and a foul called in deep. It's on David Hudson of Rainier Beach.
And again, Garfield just trying to pound away, hoping that the cumulative effects will have the same type of effect as a good jab by a boxer, that it just wears you down, and then they get some easy offensive putbacks inside. So Rainier Beach, they've got to try and block out strong and then get it out to their guy, Jamal Crawford, and look to push it up the floor, get some easy buckets before Garfield can set up in their defense.
Nickens, right side. Ellis extends the defense on Nickens. Tried to dump it to Roy. Hit him in the shoot top. Ball comes free. There's Rabasso leaving some skin on P Arena's floor. He and Crawford tie up for the jump ball. And on the alternate possession, Rainier Beach will get jump.
Yeah, with no hesitation, Jamal Crawford dives on the floor trying to secure the loose ball. And in Washington high school basketball, unlike the college ranks, that they go strictly by the alternating possession arrow.
Here's Hudson in the corner, double team. Flips it outside to Crawford. He dribbles up on Ed Roy, turns his back to the ball. Crawford gets rid of the jumper, and then Roy, once he did pick up Crawford, shoved him.
Not a smart play. Again, you know, he's excited playing at the Key Arena here on Kong TV. Ed Roy, adrenaline is flowing, but you don't want to foul a jump shooter fading away from the bucket like that on that particular play. Just get your hands up, maintain good position, and don't hack.
Third foul on Ed Roy,
which also compounds the problem.
Actually, there'll be 3 shots awarded to Jamal Crawford here. He was in the act of shooting that 3.
Which still compounds the problem. You know, you don't want to give a guy 3 free throws, make him make. That's a difficult shot. If he makes that, you just slap him on the butt or pop his headband. Good shot, buddy. Just pull that headband and just let it go.
Crawford hits the second.
Might shake up that design on the head, on the haircut. Crawford, I like him. He's a good-looking player. We talked about his size, but I don't think, you know, when you get this kind of quickness and kind of ball handling ability, you know, a lot of guys who are that kind of size who go into college, pick up 10 pounds through weight training. He's going to do that.
32-26 score, 6:16 left in the third quarter. Simmons driving in, slants to the hole, puts up a runner, won't go. Rebound deflected. Simmons, nice find beneath the hole. Over to Rabasso. Spins right into base. He lost it. Simmons picks it up and loops it outside to Roy. Now Garfield will set up. Simmons, a good shooter, lets it fly. The 3 rimming. Look at Smiley soaring in for the rebound, but it hit the top of the glass. It'll be Rainier ball.
Now, if I'm Rainier Beach, this is what I would do. Pack that zone in, try and stop the interior passing that Garfield has been successful at, and then make a guy like Trey Simmons knock down some jump shots. Make him earn that moniker of Trey. Hit a Trey.
Nice pass. Crawford in deep. Turns and fights Hudson for the open J, and he drains it. The left-hander so steady out of the corner.
And that should be a play that Crawford looks to do more often. Find Hudson. Hudson buried one in the first half. This time knocks one down in the third quarter. He can shoot that corner jump shot.
Rainier beats by 8. Right side, it's Smiley. Drops a low at Roy. Pump fake, spins. Nice reverse dribble to the hole. Lays it up and in.
He's shown an ability these last 2 buckets to knock down shots on the move. That time hard dribble. Baseline spun back to his right shoulder and still able to find the backboard and put it in the basket.
Crawford with a jump pass, cross-court, finds Ellis. Now to Hudson. 3-pronged attack across the front for Rainier Beach. Crawford skips into the lane. Had the ball batted away and out of bounds. And Rainier Beach will hang on to it. Carl McGinnis will step in for Rainier Beach, and DeMar Basie will check out. Andre Franklin will stay on the floor for Rainier Beach. Beach leading by 6, 34-28. Crawford handling beyond the ring. Steps to the 15-foot mark, lets it fly. Missed it, grabbed his own rebound. One dribble and up. Missed it. Rapasso with the rebound. Finn looking deep. Finds Simmons at midcourt. Into the lane. Double pump, turns sideways, and kisses it off. Just a smooch off the window for Simmons.
And no one stepped up defensively for Rainier Beach to stop Simmons' penetration. He recognized, took it to the rack, and then kissed it off the back.
34-30. And Hudson handled. David spins with the left hand, and he comes. Simmons reached in and hooked him for the foul.
Now also Garfield doing something interesting defensively. He's got JayVon Nickens guarding Jamal Crawford, but here's that play by Simmons, going to take it to the rack. Nobody steps up. You got to stop that guy at the free throw line, or else that's going to happen. He's going to be able to take that long stride down the lane and finish off the play, but good recognition by Chester Trey Simmons. I guess if I was named Chester, I want to be known as Trey too. That's just a joke for all you Chesters out there.
Chester Jet.
Chester Dorsey, you're probably listening. I'm just kidding, baby.
Jet.
That's a beautiful name. Now this kid here, Hudson, he's the nephew of Gary Payton's people, Aaron and Eric Goodwin.
His agents, yeah.
So he's already got some agents if he can just get to the next level, Hudson does. He's got representation. It's already in place.
35-30 count. Rainier Beach, Rapasso in deep. Nice little drop step to the hole, lays it in, and now Garfield a little more patient in finding the big men along the block.
Yeah, and just again, still just pounding it inside. He's just going to wear down Rainier Beach or try to wear them down with the offensive rebounding and then interior passing, and then JayVon Nichols full-court pressure against Jamal Crawford.
Beach leading 35-32. Hudson leans back, off-balance three, missed it, follows his rebound, but swats it out of bounds. And it will be Garfield basketball. The score, Rainier Beach 35, Garfield 32. 3:57 left here in this third period. And a full timeout called here at Key Arena. We'll take a break and return with more of our high school basketball program and the King Holiday Hoop Fest from Key Arena in just a moment. Rainier Beach leading Garfield 35-32. 3:57 to go in the third quarter with Marcus Johnson. I'm Kevin Calabro. The story of this game has been the first half points of Tim Ellis. He had 15 of his 17 in the first half, and Jamal Crawford set him up. He had 9 points of his 11 in the first half of play. The Land Rover road to the state tournament. Let's take a look at it. 3A, 4A district championships. Various sites begin March the 2nd. Boys and girls state tournament at the Kingdome, March 10th through the 13th. And the 4A boys and girls state tournament, Tacoma Dome, March 10th through the 13th.
Now Rainier
have
Beach
a lot of basketball ahead of them yet.
Yeah, they do indeed. And Rainier Beach going into like a 1-3-1 zone, trapping the corners aggressively instead of sitting back, playing a passive zone, a 2-3.
Rapasso with a rebound. Outside to Smiley. He's due to get hot. And he throws an air ball.
Teammate Ed Roy comes over to console him after that jump shot. The crowd gets on him with a chance to air ball, but good thing to see one teammate, one junior going to the other saying, hey, just calm down, relax. You're going to come through at some point in this game. Don't press.
Garfield shooting just 33%. Rainier Beach more transition buckets, so a higher percentage at 50%. Crawford, 3 off the mark. Garfield would much rather see that. Rapasso the rebound. Quick outlet, Smiley to Nickens. Leave it to Roy. Hit on trigger and lay it down. 35-34, Rainier Beach by 1.
For Roy Smiley, just a nice job of getting something to go through the nets for you. Maybe that will get him started.
Here's Crawford, blast in right to left. Encounters Rapasso, ball deflected. Saved beautifully. Right back to Crawford, he lays it up and in.
Jamal Crawford kind of starting slowly here in the third quarter. I think he more be letting the game come to him than trying to force the action like he did a little bit in the first half.
Here's Ed Roy, got into the air and lost the handle on it. Right to Rainier Beach's Crawford. He dribbles into the hands of Smiley. Skips to Roy, angles into the lane and powers to the hole to lay it up and in. And now Garfield down 1 at 37-36.
And we give JayVon Nickens some credit. He's full court pressure defense against Jamal Crawford. That's one of the reasons why Crawford has not done as much here in the second half as he did in the first.
Here's Ellis with a turnaround jumper. Good. Tim Ellis curling off a pick in the fallaway J.
Hey, you recruiters out there, get your letters ready to send to Tim Ellis. Tim Ellis has really done a nice job tonight, and not only showing a nice touch inside, but outside on a couple of jump shots.
Rainier Beach by 3. Rabasso double, dumps it out on top to Roy. Tried to dribble through a double team. Lost the handle, got it back, and a jump ball. And an alternate possession. Garfield will retain possession.
You like that college rule where if the defense initiates the jump ball?
I do.
Yeah, I like that too.
Absolutely, because it awards good defense.
It does indeed, and that's good defense there inside to slap it away. Done a nice job to get the hand on the ball. And the college, that would have been Rainier Beach's basketball because the defense initiated possession instead of going just by which way the possession arrow is pointing.
39-36, Rainier Beach by 3. Inbounds pass to Nickens in the corner.
Now out of the 1-3-1, Rainier Beach back into just a basic 2-3 zone. No aggressive traps in the corner. Pack it in. Your rebounding is a lot better on the defensive boards when you're in a 2-3 as opposed to a 1-3-1.
Bring Roy to the top, then they sag on him. Off it goes to the wingman. Simmons missed it. Roy the rebound right back up and in.
Well, your rebounding is supposed to be better, but you got a small guy trying to get up on Ed Roy. Ed Roy just powers through for the offensive rebound.
Frazier had bobbled the inbounds pass. Rookie got down on one knee, just made possession a sure thing, and then called a timeout. 22nd timeout apparently called by the Vikings. You see Wayne Floyd, the coach of Garfield, huddle with his group. Mike Bethea, the head coach of Rainier Beach, on the opposite end.
Now see, that time he had Andre Franklin at 5'10" for Rainier Beach. He's got to go at the body of Ed Roy, 6'6". A little lower, a little bit more aggressively, and keep him off the weak side of the backboards. 90% of the time when the shot is taken on the right side, it's going to land on the left. Roy did a nice job moving and getting position, but Franklin just kind of waited till he got the basketball on the offensive rebound and then tried to contest the shot. That's not going to work.
And Roy, true to form, was really not a factor early in this game. He scored, well, he didn't score in the first quarter, came up with 6 in the second, but he said his last 5 field goals, has 14 points and 7 boards on the offensive end. That's Roy.
Great job just attacking the offensive glass. You called him a slow starter at the beginning of the game, and he's living up to that name.
Rainier Beach by 1 with 1:18 to go in the third quarter. Here comes Crawford. Look at that shifty left to right crossover into the lane, and the fouls, he went airborne. He'll get 2.
And you know, that's when you know a guy has a lot of skill at 6'5", and he has the ability to break down a smaller, tougher defensive player. Eyes focused in on JayVon Nickens. Nice little crossover to get by him. Now he's got to be careful. You see Raboso, how are we saying that last name? Rabasso back on the back line, poised to take the offensive foul. They're going to be looking to do a lot of that whenever Jamal Crawford has the basketball.
Crawford makes it a 40-38 issue. Rainier Beach by a deuce. 1:12 left third quarter. Nickens jogging down the right side, dumps it on top to the trailer Roy. In low they go to Rabasso. Good look to Simmons for the bucket up and in. Simmons flashing from the weak side for the deuce.
And the key is getting the ball in the middle to Rabasso. Rainier Beach, they have got to stop that pass from getting down into the middle of the paint. Rabasso has so many options when he turns, especially that weak side option that he exploited on that play.
Tied at 40 with 50 seconds left in the third quarter. Frazier into the lane, lost it. Got it back, weak shot air ball. Grabbed in deep, but a foul. It's on Rainier Beach. It'll be Bulldog basketball.
They're going to be on Tim Ellis. The official says that's why Rainier Beach was able to get the offensive rebound so easily that Ellis cleared out. Ellis gives the ref a pat on the butt and says good call. So it looks like the official was in pretty good position to make the call.
Tied at 40, MJ, and the last time Garfield led was at 6-5.
Now, again, Rainier Beach back in the 2-3 zone, just kind of riding out the clock here with just under 30 seconds left. But look for Rabasso to try and get into the middle and then look weak side again for an easy layup on the weak side of the glass.
Garfield looking for their first lead since the 4:10 mark of the first quarter, handling outside. Cross-court pass to Roy in the corner. Back outside to the point to Nickens. Gambling is Frazier. They're unbalanced now, the defense. Down low, Rabasso. Out to the young man, slanting to the hole, up with a little flip. Got it off a little too quick. Rebound Ellis. Lead pass breaking all. Oh, kicked it out of bounds. Oh, it's Marcus Adams with every ball player's nightmare. Great lead pass, wide open floor, off the knee, out of bounds.
Got a little excited. Looked over here and saw Kevin Calabro and said, oh my God, I'm at the key. There's Kevin, there's Marcus. What am I going to do?
good golly. That is a third quarter play. It's 40-40. Garfield and Rainier Beach. We'll go to the fourth quarter. This should be quite a run as we wrap up the King Holiday Hoop Fest in a moment. 40-40 score, Rainier Beach and the Garfield Bulldogs. Joining us tonight on the broadcast, Dave Grosby of Sports Radio KJR in Seattle. Gros, you the man.
Kev, you're the man. How could I possibly be the man? Hey, a great fourth quarter in the offing. Garfield stressing defense, getting Crawford's face. Don't give them a chance to set up. We'll see if they can do it. Let's go back to you guys.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Rainier Beach now with a handle, and here is Crawford. Covering him closely is Nickens, but he gets a little room and fires off a light bulb. Missed it. Rebound grabbed by Nickens.
Yeah, and JayVon Nickens has been a big key for Garfield's success in the second half. Jamal Crawford just one field goal in the third quarter.
Conroy, nice find of a loose ball inside to Nickens for the lay-in, and Garfield leads for the first time in his game since the 4:10 mark of the first quarter when they were up 6-5.
Conroy is a fine-looking junior. Looks like he's going to grow another inch or two. You've got the young kind of baby-faced look, but he plays with a lot of enthusiasm.
Crawford now taking some hurried off-balance jump shots. Rebound Ellis, the putback off the mark, but spiked out of bounds by Garfield.
Yeah, and Crawford's haste to try and get things done. Now he knows that he only got the basket to go through the twine once for him in the third quarter. Had some free throws for 5 points. He's kind of forcing things a bit. Again, JayVon Nickens, a nice defensive job the fifth-year senior Nickens is doing against Crawford.
Garfield by 2. Crawford on the inbounds, driving into the lane. And he is hammered to the floor. Trying to go up with him was Torrance Smith, the 6'5 senior. He thought he had all ball, but Crawford will shoot 2.
And they know Crawford's reputation, obviously. These both teams in the CD, the Central District. Crawford, the state player of the year last year as a junior on the state championship team. This whole team of Garfield is keyed in defensively on Jamal Crawford because they know it's winning time, it's crunch time, it's fourth quarter time. He's going to try and take over.
Crawford's free throw rattles off. Crawford was held to 4 points back in the third quarter, all of them on free throws. Actually, he did have one field goal back in the third quarter. Second free throw rolls off, and Nickens with a rebound. So Crawford misses a couple. Garfield by a deuce. Nickens trying to make a quick pass up the floor to Smith, deflected. Rainier Beach has a chance to tie. They work the turnover the other way. Crossing over into the lane with a running hook is Crawford, but he powers into a Garfield player. JayVon Nickens is playing great defense here in the second half.
I tell you, the coach from Rainier Beach, too, he needs to call a 20 at least and tell Crawford to settle down a bit. You still have a very good offensive player, Tim Ellis, on the floor, who has been relatively quiet because Crawford is trying to do it all. I mean, he's talented, but he's got 4 other guys out there. And I talked about Garfield setting themselves up to pick up some offensive foul. Well, there's Crawford out of control with a charging violation.
Jet Simmons up the floor will toss it cross court. Garfield by a deuce, 6:56 left in the game.
And actually, Jamal Crawford out of the basketball game for the first time tonight after that offensive foul.
Ed Roy at the top, swings it to Smith, now to Labasso. And Rainier Beach back in the lane. Simmons drives in. Nice pass to Smith, blew the lane. Rebound, Ricky Frazier. Long lead pass to Adams. He's got it alone again. And he'll lay it up and miss it. Rebound deflected. Smith again. No, it's Adams with the recovery. He'll lay it in as Tim Ellis coming alive. Some misadventures on that trip down the floor, but it's a tie game at 42. Now Simmons into the lane, and he's fouled on the way to the hole.
And there's that guy, Marcus Adams. He got a little nervous on the first layup.
He looked over and saw you again.
He's like, oh, my God. I don't want to be on the Fox scope. But give Tim Ellis a lot of credit. He chased the play down, didn't assume that he remembered what happened in the first half with Adams, so the breakaway. He didn't quit on the play. Tim Ellis going to trail the play just in case Adams gets excited again. Ellis keeps the basketball alive. Adams comes back inbounds, which you're allowed to do, and finishes off the play. But we talked about it. Tim Ellis, he's going to be a key. But think about something. Now, you know Jamal Crawford needs a break at some point. He's only got 2 fouls. About 3 or 4 shots in a row. His coach takes him out, puts him on the bench to settle him down a bit. Now I think he'll be rested and ready to make a strong run when he enters the basketball game.
Ira Davis back in for Garfield over to Roy Smiley. He got a breather as well to settle down. Outside Nickens. He hit a 3. JayVon Nickens giving some defense, and now a big three-point blast. Garfield leads 45-42.
Huge three-pointer, and again, I thought of him as just a defensive specialist, JayVon Nickens, but he showed a nice offensive touch on that play.
Driving into the lane, Frazier lays it up and in. Ricky Frazier comes right back with a one-handed run.
That's that little shot he's been doing since the 5th grade. It looks awkward, but they say that he can knock that down when he gets in the paint, and he's done so a couple of times tonight.
It's a 48-44 ball game. 48-44. Garfield by 4 with 5.5 minutes to go in the game. Davis outside, right wing, Smiley in the corner to Rabasso, one-on-one on Ellis. Drives him, tried to step around Ken, out to Smiley for the 3, and there is Roy Smiley, and he was due. 1 for 8 in the first half. Smiley finally sends in a 3 ball.
And the shot before that was an air ball. You talked about it. The coach pulls him out, sets him down on the bench just to gather and collect himself. Comes back into the basketball game, knocks down the huge tray.
22nd timeout called on the floor. Garfield 51 and Rainier Beach 44. So back-to-back threes by Nickens and by this man, Roy Smiley, the difference.
Inside-outside basketball. Rabasso double team in the right post, finds the open guy. And that time, Roy Smiley was actually almost at the NBA three-point line. A long bomb for Smiley puts his team up by 4 points with just about 5 minutes left in this game. Well, now, wait a minute. They should be up by more than 4, shouldn't they? Or I thought they were up 4 on that.
You know, that's interesting because I had it 44-42. We're checking out. I think the score is correct. 48-44. Back-to-back threes after being up 42-40. That's when, remember, they took their first lead since about the 4-minute mark of the first quarter.
But again, a nice job by Garfield. Again, that's the old tortoise and the hare syndrome where one team has all the energy and Jamal Crawford flash and dash and starting out quickly. Garfield just slow and steady, pounding the offensive glass, waiting for their offense to pick up. Roy Smiley comes in, knocks down a big three-pointer. JayVon Nickens, who's played tremendous defense on Jamal Crawford, comes in, knocks down a three-pointer, and then Rabasso. I just like the way he's played all around. Passing the basketball, taking a shot when he's there, rebounding, crashing the boards. And the big guy, Ed Roy, as you mentioned, slow starter, but he has really come on here, especially in the second half.
Garfield really has adapted and changed their game plan quite well in this contest. I thought they would start Nickens. We talked about that. I thought they'd start Nickens on Crawford at the game's beginning, but they started Ira Davis. And Nickens really didn't get much time on Crawford until here in the latter moment of the third and then now here in the fourth quarter.
Well, a lot of times the coach save his stud defensively until the second half. You don't want Crawford to figure this guy out too quickly. I know they've played against each other probably in the summertime, but you go at him with a smaller player and you let him free will and deal out there on the floor like Jamal Crawford did in the first half, and then you throw the defensive stopper at him in the second half. The fifth-year senior with the experience who's not going to be rattled, who's not impressed by the press clippings of Jamal Crawford, player of the year, state champ, whatever. It's all about basketball when you step between the lines.
Nickens is having a good time, and he will talk a blue streak too. Boy, he was carrying on a 32-minute conversation with Jimmy Haywood of Franklin earlier this week in their matchup. That was a great game. Here's Crawford now with a pull-up J from 15 off the bench, ready to toast. 48-46, Garfield by a deuce.
And JayVon Nickens played him as well as you can play a player on that kind of a move. But again, we talked about it. Crawford going to the bench, settling down, and comes right back out and sticks the tough jumper.
Roy Smiley with it. Nickens says, I got a mouse in the house. Frazier at 5'9" on me. I'm posted. Backing in double. Outside to Roy. Slants in, stops. Ball stripped. Good play. Rainier Beach basketball down by 2. Nickens tries to tie up. Crawford can't. Jamal going to dribble up the center of the floor. Dishes outside to Frazier. 4.5 minutes left in the game. Rainier Beach trailing by 2, but with possession. Ed Roy of Garfield steps outside on Adams. Swings it to Crawford. Open 3. No. Good rebound. Frazier right back up. Little man lays it in from 10 along the right side.
Now Crawford shot that three-pointer from NBA range and didn't try to back it, but the ball banked off the backboard. Give the small guy Frazier credit for running down the offensive rebound and shooting that unorthodox one-handed shot to paint.
Tied at 48 with 4 minutes left now. Ira Davis will set the floor. Smiley in low. Nickens is posted. Turns up and over. Ricky Frazier for the bucket. 50-48 Garfield.
Yeah, mouse in the house. Take the little guy down low. He looks over at us and talks about it. Hey, too little. He's a mouse and I need some cheese.
I got too many Mises on me. Here's a follow-away jumper. Ellis forced it. Loose ball. Grabbed up the floor by Davis. Great pass to Rabasso. Deflects it toward the hole. Grabs it and scores.
Yeah, you need a guy like Rabasso. Just steady. Nice finish on that play. He saw Jamal Crawford back on defense, took him strong to the rack, used his body to fend him off, and did a nice job with his body control to kiss it off the glass softly.
Garfield by 2, 52-48, 3:16 left now in the game. Here's Crawford now with his back to the bucket. Working Nickens outside. It comes to Tim Ellis. Lets a 3 fly, flat shot. Looks like Rainier Beach is running out of gas. Rebound to Roy.
And that was probably about 4 or 5 feet beyond the range of Tim Ellis. He wants more of a 15 to 16-foot shot. That was a 21, 22-foot shot.
Rabasso, wing right, covered by Crawford. Finn pivots by him. Crawford reaches in and a foul called on Jamal.
Third foul on Jamal Crawford. Didn't matter in this situation, 2:49 left. But as you mentioned, this is a good time for a timeout for Rainier Beach. They are huffing and puffing right now.
And they're going to get David Hudson, their fine outside shooter, in just a moment. 2:49 left in the game. Garfield leading Rainier Beach 52-48 in the King Holiday Hoop Fest from. Back with Marcus Johnson and Dave Grosby, Kevin Calabro. An outstanding ball game here this evening at Key Arena. Rainier Beach right now trailing Garfield high 52-48. Time now for the 8-for-8 big smooth 3-point field goal comparison. Beach 2 for 9, 22%, and Garfield 2 for 11, 18% right now.
But for Garfield, those two, Roy Smiley, JayVon Nickens, came in the fourth quarter that gave them the lead or enhanced their lead in this basketball game. So they waited until the opportune time to knock down the big smooth 8-for-8 3-pointers.
Ira Davis handling his club up 4, down low to Nickens, again posted. They've got 6-foot Hudson on him now, but Nickens powers his way in with a spin move to the rack and is pushed and fouled.
They keep going to the well until they make the adjustment. Garfield's coach is content to say, hey, you're going to put a small guy, Hudson, against a big, strong guy like JayVon Nickens. Not really that big, but strong and experienced. He's a 5th-year high school basketball player. Granted that 1 year extra hardship, you're only 6'1", but he's got a strong body and loads of confidence.
And it's just a slight resemblance to Tommy the Hitman Hearns.
Yes, he does. Hudson listed at 6 feet, but I don't know. The way he looked down here in the post, it looks like Nickens has at least a 2 or 3 inch height advantage against Hudson down low.
Nickens makes it a 53-48 Garfield lead of 5 with 2:29 left. Hudson to 5'9" Ricky Frazier. They post. Crawford denied of the ball by Nickens, out of bounds, and last touch Crawford, they say. Woody Woodruff makes the call on the sideline, but Scott Federley maybe had a better look at it from half court.
Yeah, I think he did, but Nickens, I mean, he's in the mug of Jamal Crawford after the play. Does a nice job coming weak side to bat it out of bounds. Who touches it? That's a tough call. That's a good call. I thought it was a good call, but I thought Crawford kind of held Nickens a bit to keep him from getting to the basketball.
Crawford outside the 3, rimming badly left. Rebound Ira Davis. Long pass in the front court. Nickens with it. He'll pull up, jump pass. Rabasso to the glass, lays it in. Good pass by JayVon Nickens. And now a 7-point Garfield lead with 1:58 left in the contest. And Rainier Beach will call a timeout. Well, Beach carried it to Garfield up until, well, they were tied at 40-40, and then Nickens kind of took over this game.
Yeah, he did at both ends. Nice job inside, scored some baskets, knocked down a 3, assist Rabasso on that fast break opportunity. But what made that play happen when Jamal Crawford took that long jump shot, he was challenged by Nickens. Maybe there was some slight contact, but Crawford goes to the floor and leaves nobody back to protect against the fast break. Garfield exploits that with a 3-on-1 fast break and good unselfishness by JayVon Nickens, who has been a major key. If they win this game, Garfield, they've got to give a lot of credit to JayVon Nickens for his defense and also for his contributions offensively here in the second half.
Garfield, the defending 4A state champions, coached by Wayne Floyd.
Now we come back, we're going to be spread. Don't get up on you. You got to go by and make the ref call the foul. But protect the ball.
No charge.
Protect the ball. He's over top. He's not going to lose. Okay, he's right. So you go down low. No.
Garfield on a 7-0 run. They are the defending 4A state champions. The Dogs traveled to British Columbia early for a tournament in which they lost in the championship game to a Richmond, BC squad.
But Wayne Floyd, a quick story, played at Franklin High School for Dave Belmonte. Then Dave Belmonte went on to coach at Bellevue High School, where Wayne Floyd was his assistant. When Wayne Floyd got the head job at Garfield, he hired Belmonte as his assistant. So
very nice.
Kind of keeping it all in the family. I like that. Keeping that experienced Tex Winters kind of a coach on the bench with you. It's a smart move.
7-point lead for Garfield with 1:55 left in the ball game. It's Rainier Beach ball. Here's Ricky Frazier, 5'9" across midcourt, covered by the 6-foot Davis. In the corner to Hudson. Good shooter, double team, loops it outside. That's up for grabs and out of bounds. Last touch by Garfield. It was deflected before Ellis.
No. Last touch by my mug. No, not last touch by me.
I didn't even want to
slap the ball right in my face, but I'm so cool, I just play it off like it didn't happen. But I'm seeing stars right now. And I ain't talking about Jamal Crawford either.
Crawford into the lane. The jump step spin from 360. Moe missed it. Rebound to Frazier. Drive floater. Lays it in. There's Frazier again. Boy, is he good at that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, since the 5th grade, they say he's been shooting that shot. And every time he's taken it tonight, he's come closer and knocked it down.
Here's a nice pass up to Roy, who leaps and leans and lays it home off the window. Great find from midcourt. Garfield has been a better passing team here in the 4th quarter. Crawford the other way, breaks into the lane, and he lays it home. Just trading buckets right now. Garfield by 5, 57-52.
That's what Garfield wants to do. Attack this press, get some easy layups at the other end.
1:05 left in the game. Smiley to Roy in the corner, back to Rabasso. Now the Dogs set up. Smiley will toss it cross court. Nickens beats Crawford off the dribble into the lane, drop steps, loops it back outside. Smiley will hold, 48 seconds left.
Got to foul as soon as you can, stop the clock.
Frazier wants to reach in, won't. Smiley gets rid of it to Rabasso, he lays it in easily.
Mike Bethea, the coach of Rainier Beach, exhorting his team, we got a foul right away. They don't. And the Rabasso finds the opening in the zone for the easy layup.
Garfield calls it 20. Leading by 7, 59-52.
Can attack in the press. Roy Smiley going to penetrate. A little kick inside to Rabasso. No one back on the back line. They're pressured out top, but the mistake of Rainier Beach was not fouling Roy Smiley. Although he's knocked down a three-pointer lately, he was kind of struggling a bit early on.
Well, Rainier Beach has gotten 16 from Ed Roy and 14 points from Finn Rabasso.
Yeah, and that's a nice move by Jamal Crawford coming back alive, but you notice that JayVon Nickens was nowhere near him. He got to him at the end of the play, but when Nickens has guarded Crawford, he's done a nice job of just making every shot extremely difficult for the talented senior, the state player of the year last year, Michigan-bound Jamal Crawford.
Who's that ailing down there, Gross?
That's a JayVon Nickens ailing down here, KC. I was thinking originally it's something of a cramp. He's got the training crew working on him, as you can see, and they're getting him back up thinking it might have been a cramp in his leg, and see if he can move it off and get out there and play. We know how critical he has been for these guys in the second half. Right now, he does not look like he's ready to go, and I think they'll bring him back inside.
He has been the emotional leader for this team also. Just getting this team pumped up with his intensity and his defensive ability to stay with Jamal Crawford out on the floor. But he is in some pain right now.
Yeah, they want to keep Nickens on the bench. 38 seconds left in the game with Garfield leading 59-52. And Nickens is going to be helped off the floor and into the locker room, I believe. Yeah, looks that way.
Got a couple of players from Rainier Beach, Tim Ellis, Hudson come over, slap him on the butt. Good job tonight. I like to see that good sportsmanship. That's what this thing is all about. The Martin Luther King Round Ball Classic here, just coming together, having a good time, competing hard. But hey, don't take it too seriously. It's not life or death. It's still just a basketball game.
Crawford going to race down the floor with it now. Hesitates, drives in, switches left to right hand, and banks it up and in. What a move. 5-point lead now for Garfield. And without Nickens, you lose a very heady ball handler and passer. Davis is fouled in backcourt. And now Rainier Beach going to force the Bulldogs to win this thing at the line.
And I'm sure Jamal Crawford, once he saw Nickens go out, he was kind of quoting Dr. King in his mind. Free at last, free at last. Thank God almighty, I'm free at last. Got JayVon out of here.
Now I'm going to the bottom.
I'm free. Thank you, because JayVon was on him. He was on him. He was inside that headband. He was really doing a nice job against Crawford tonight.
Davis misses the front end. Rebound grabbed by Rainier Beach. Hudson, a good three-point shooter. They'll stop and pop, and he nearly drained that. It came up an air ball, but he had the range on it. Or actually, he had the range dialed in, but it was short about a foot because he tried the NBA three-point.
It was right on line. It was right on line.
19 seconds left and a foul call.
Yeah, it looked like they had a chance to go in, but you have to try something like that. You're in a desperation situation.
5-point Garfield lead, and the 5th foul on Ricky Frazier. Somebody else is going to get a little run. Coming in now for Rainier Beach. Nate Robinson, 5'8" freshman. David Hudson will step out. Also in for Rainier Beach is Carl McGinnis and Will Conroy, along with Ellis and Crawford. Ira Davis at the line hits the free throw. 60-54. It's been a good week for the Garfield Bulldogs if they can put this win away. They'll go to 10-2 on the year. Davis hits the second free throw. They beat Franklin at Franklin earlier this week. Here's Ellis with a setup and the three. Missed. Crawford the putback slam, no. Rebound putback, Fourth try by Rainier Beach. Goes awry. Davis with a pickup. Skips it to Smiley on the way to the hole. With a two-hand reverse jam with triple zeros counting the bucket. Garfield will win it over Rainier Beach 63-54. That's the way to end the ball game right there by Roy Smiley.
Yeah, pretty nice little statement right there by Smiley. Had a turn, did a corkscrew maneuver, a little reverse jam at the buzzer.
So a well-played game by the Bulldogs, and Rainier Beach, I think, they just did not have the physical combativeness at the end. They expended themselves in periods 2 and 3, and the Bulldogs made a marathon of it and caught up with it.
That's the whole key. I mean, Rainier Beach started out quickly and had a lot of flashy plays at the beginning. Garfield just kind of pounded the backboard, stayed with their game plan, pounded it inside. Robasso did a nice job. Ed Roy did a nice job. Roy Smiley came on late with the guy that I think would be the MVP for them in this game, JayVon Nickens, with his defense against Jamal Crawford, and then he contributed offensively in the fourth quarter. They had a nice effort from everybody, Garfield did.
Dave Crosby's courtside with a winning coach, Wayne Floyd at Garfield.
All right, guys, thanks very much. We are here with Wayne Floyd. He's got his players next to him. Coach, congratulations. Tell me what you did at halftime and the changes you made to turn it around in the second half.
Well, we just talked about not turning the ball over. We were really, really turning the ball over a lot. And we talked about turning the ball over, taking care of the ball, and attacking that zone with a high-low situation there. And it just worked. We had open shots, good looks. We got Ed Roy free down low, got some easy baskets, and then they missed a few shots. They got a lot of lay-ins in the first half, and they missed a few shots in the second half, and it allowed us to get back in the game. And hey, the rest, they did the rest. It wasn't anything spectacular.
Well, congratulations, Coach. I know you got a game tomorrow against Redmond, right? You're right back in the league.
Yeah, it's a tough game tomorrow. This is a distraction, but it's a good distraction, good cause, Martin Luther King Day, and good rivalry we have. We're all friends here, so it worked out really well. I just wish Rainier Beach best of luck down the season for the rest of the season. So,
congratulations, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there's your winning coach, guys. Back to you.
Well, congratulations to Wayne Floyd, and he's got his hands full with Redmond tomorrow, another good ball club. 63-54, the final Garfield over Rainier Beach. MJ and I will be back in a moment.
I just want to do God's will, and He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
The King Holiday Hoop Fest has been brought to you by Nordstrom, by Land Rover, a proud member of the Brotherton Automotive Group, by Adidas, feet you wear, by Friends of Hoop, respect the game, by Sports Radio 950 and 850 KJRAM, by Kong TV 616, by Seattle Center, what a great place, by Kiss 106.1, your music for the new millennium today, and by 8for8 Productions, bringing people together.
Garfield Bulldogs prevail here in the King Holiday Hoop Fest at Key Arena, 63-54. Rainier Beach, with a loss, goes to 8-4 on the year. Garfield goes to 10-2 with the win. And as Wayne Floyd said, they got a game tomorrow against Redmond. They're ranked number 2 in the state. Garfield's got a nice group. They really took care of the ball in the second half. Had 13 turnovers in the first half, only 3 in the second half. That might have been the biggest difference in the game.
Yeah, it was. They did a tremendous job. They got some good young talent. The Roy boys, Ed Roy, Roy Smiley did a nice job. Fenra Basso, I like his game. He's just a junior. I mean, these guys are underclassmen that we're talking about. So this team will be a team that will challenge again next year. But their size was just a little bit too much for Rainier Beach. And then they played a smart game. And then JayVon Nickens defensively did an outstanding job on Jamal Crawford, especially in the second half.
Yeah, Nickens is the old man in the group. He's a senior, 5 for 7 from the field, including a three-pointer to put him ahead late in the ball game. 12 points, 4 assists for JayVon Nickens this evening, our U.S. West player of the game, MJ.
Yeah, and just inspiring basketball. Knocked down that first jump shot, hit this 3 in the fourth quarter that gave his team, or increased his team's lead, and then just D'd up Jamal Crawford, talked up a good game, got his team fired up. JayVon Nickens without with injury, but came back on the floor after the game had ended. He's okay.
Crawford and Ellis had some big numbers for Rainier Beach, and we'll be back with that aspect of this game in a moment. Garfield 63, Rainier Beach 54 in the King Holiday Hoop Fest. We'll be back in a moment. Well, Rainier Beach played a whale of a ball game, a very entertaining brand of basketball, up and down. They obviously didn't have the size, the height up front. They handled Garfield well in the first half, but boy, then attrition took over. Tim Ellis had 21 points, and he lit it up in the first half with 15 points. And Jamal Crawford, the all-around fine game, 20 points, 5 assists, but 7 turnovers for Jamal Crawford. But you can just see glimpses of his future ahead of him. Just an electric player.
Yeah, and he's asked to do a whole lot to carry the burden offensively, also to rebound the basketball. Again, he had a little bit of trouble with the outside stroke, 1 for 9 from long range, but I think a lot of that had to do with the defense of JayVon Nickens, who did a tremendous job. But the main thing, I think, was just size. Garfield was just able to wear down Rainier Beach's smaller lineup over time. Rainier Beach started out fast, but Garfield just walked them down, waited for them to get a little tired in the fourth quarter. And you mentioned it, they were kind of dragging a bit in the fourth quarter, and then their big people inside did a nice job of just pounding the interior.
Fun triple header here today at Key Arena. Remember, this is only the second King Holiday Hoop Fest, and this thing was put together so well here in the second year. In the first game, an upset as Mercer Island, with 4 of their top 5 going on to Division I schools next year. Bellarmine Prep beat them 53-47. Brandon Merritt of Bellarmine with 17 points coming up from Tacoma. Jesse Keeley from Bellarmine with 9 rebounds. Kenny Williams of Bellarmine with 5 assists, and Josh Fisher from MI with the 5 assists. Bellarmine defeats MI 53-47. And then in game 2, you had Mariner and Cascade going at it. Cascade 51, Mariner 48. T.Ho Johnson, 23 points, 9 rebounds. And I think he probably had about, I'm guessing, 6 big Subway sandwiches after the game. Big fella. Shane Keck from Mariner with 3 assists, and Taylor Matson from Cascade with 3 assists. And, of course, in our nightcap, Garfield over Rainier Beach, the final 63-54. Tim Ellis leads all scorers with 21. Ed Roy of Garfield had the 8 boards. Jamal Crawford, 5 assists for Rainier Beach, and Roy Smiley with Garfield, he had 5 assists as well. Well, I'll tell you what, the coordinators of this whole effort have just done a marvelous job. They have really put this thing together, and it's, of course, on the shoulders, due in large part to volunteerism. A lot of people from the community volunteer and pitch in and give their time and their effort, and we appreciate that because they made it absolutely effortless for us to sit here and watch this ball game.
Just show up and talk about the game.
Show and go.
That's how we usually do it. But no, Albert Hall, Friends of Hoop, did a tremendous job, and I'm just thrilled and excited to be back in the Seattle area and watching some more outstanding high school basketball talent. They've got just a bunch of it up here. Seattle's trying to challenge LA in terms of. But don't get excited, Seattle. You're not in Indiana yet.
Bill Cooper's been our producer-director. We thank Bill, who, of course, is our main man during the course of the year with the Seattle Supersonics. We'll see you with the Sonics here in, a couple of weeks we get rolling. MJ, of course, has the Fox Scope Monday through Friday on Fox Nation, coast to coast. And then on the weekend, you'll catch him doing various and sundry college basketball games. Great being back with you, man.
My pleasure, man. Enjoyed it.
You've recovered from that ball in the face, and you're not crying anymore.
No,
so it's all good for you
fine.
now.
Good working with you, Pete. Yeah. I mean, Kevin, whatever.
Thanks to Craig Hamota, our statistician. Once again, our final, Garfield 63, Rainier Beach 54. We thank Kong TV for their participation in tonight's broadcast as well. And on our simulcast here on KJR Radio, we leave you with this tribute to Martin Luther King Jr.